Hi everyone, welcome to our class. Today we are going to draft out a princess dart cup. A princess dart cup. Okay. Before you can draft out your princess dart cup, you first of all draft out your basic body, which I've done already. Okay. So to save time, I did the drafting first before the basic body first before I will start creating my princess dart cup. Okay, princess dart cup is like a padded form. It's going to be on a padded form. Okay, hope you understand that. So I will quickly go ahead and start all the detailing on it. All right, so what I'm going to do, I've measured my bust circumference, which is 40, on the bust 32, my waist 34, then my hip circumference to be 44. Okay, the most important thing I use in this is my bust, waist, and my bust, under bust, and my waist. It's very important for me whenever I am doing my princess dart. Okay, everybody has the way of doing their princess dart. My own method is what I'm teaching you people. So what I usually do, nipple to nipple points, that is from the other side of my nipple to the other side of my nipple, which is 4 inches after I finish sewing it. Okay, it's going to be 4 inches after I finish sewing it. So if I should have 4 inches from the center front inwards, so it means I'm going to sew it. You understand? I'm going to join the dart together. So if I'm to join the dart together, I'm taking ½ inch to join the dart. So after marking my 4 inches, I will go ahead and add the ½ inches, which is what I'm going to use to join the dart together. So I'm taking it the same way. So I usually reduce my measurements. Okay, if I have my nipple to nipple point at the bust point to be 4 inches after sewing, under my bust has to be 7. That means I'm removing ½ inch away from my bust point. Okay, ½ inch away from my nipple to nipple. That's from the other side of my nipple to the other side of my nipple point. So I have 4 inches. When you open it, it's going to be 8. That's why I keep measuring 4. When you open it, it's going to be 8. All right. So under the bust, I will minus ½ inch from my measurement that I have for my bust point, which is going to give me 3.5. All right, 3.5. Then I will now go ahead and add ½ inch for my sewing allowance. All right. Then on the waist length, I do the same thing, 3.5. Okay, it's also going to be 3.5 after sewing. Then I'll go ahead and add my ½ inch. All right, so I'll use my ruler to make sure I connect to this so that I'll be able to see it very well. From my nipple point to the under bust, I connect it together. From my under bust to the waist, I connect it together. All right, see, the same thing to the allowance that I have for it. Okay, the same allowance I have, that's the same way I'm doing it. Okay, this is what we have here. So I'm taking it down that same 3.5 inches down. Okay, with the allowance, the same thing down. All right. Okay, so this is what we have for the moment. From my center point, from my center front inwards, there is no adjustment I'm going to do in this. Whatever I'm going to do is going to be from this other side of my fabric. So I will now come to the shoulder measurement. From my shoulder point, from the shoulder slope that I had, if you watch my previous measurements, I've taught you how you are going to get your shoulder slope and how you can get this your armhole length. I've done that. So what I'm going to do, from my shoulder slope, I'm going to come down by 2.5 inches. Okay, 2.5 inches. Then I will connect it together to my nipple point. Remember, I am working with the one that is ½ inch, not the main one that is 4 inches. So I'm connecting it to my nipple points. All right, this way. Okay, this is what we have. All right, then under my bust, is I usually remove 3 inches or 2.5 depending, but on this particular class I'm eliminating it by 2 inches. Okay, I'm using 2 inches inside inwards, that is under the bust point. I'm removing 2 inches. Then I'll go ahead and use my French curve to connect it. The deeper you take your under bust, the deeper your cup will form. On this particular one, I'm just using 2 inches. Okay, connect it from under your bust here. Make sure it connects to the nipple point. That is where it is. This is the shape that you have. Then you come to this your armhole. You come there and then come down by 1.5 inches. Okay, or 2 inches depending, but I'm coming down by 1.5 inch. All right, so use my French curve to connect it to make sure it comes to my nipple point as well. Okay, this is what I have. Sorry, the marker is too away. Okay, this is what I have for my pads. Okay, you can decide to come down by 2 inches below, which is going to be from my nipple point like this to this point. All right, so this is the shape that I have. Then connect it down to the waist point as well. Make sure this reach to the waist point. Okay, this shape. Then towards the hip length, I'm not going to take my measurement straight. I'm not going to take this line straight, because most women, especially married women, their tummy, because of childbirth, their tummy lower abdomen tends to be bigger than their normal waist circumference. So I don't usually stretch it down so that it will give a good fitting. So I will come to that side and bring my hand out to the hip length like this. So it's going to look as if it's going to be like a pieces form, like a 4 pieces this thing, like a 4 pieces blouse. All right, okay. So in total, instead of taking 2 inches inwards down, what I will just do is to take from here 1 inch inward instead of 2 inches. Okay, because mothers these days, their lower abdomen, because of childbirth, tends to be bigger than their normal waist circumference. So they are both different measurements. When you measure the waist circumference of any woman that you measure and come below, just like 3 inches below, you will discover that if the waist is 30, you come below, you will discover it's about 32 or 34, depending on the size of that person's tummy. So that is for this particular side. Then on this, okay, there's explanation I want to explain. After I have drafted up this other place is going to be cut out. I'm going to cut this out. All right, this shaded part, I'm cutting it out in order to make my cup to form properly. I'm cutting here out so that my cup will form properly. All right, so but if I cut it, remember I use exact shoulder measurement of this to cut it. Okay, now if I measure from this place, this particular place, because my cut is going to be from here inwards. All right, if I measure from here to my breast point, nipple point is giving me 5.5 inches. Okay, then where I'm going to attach it to reach, so if I measure it from that particular place to the nipple point, is giving me 8.5 inches, meaning that if I cut it this way without having extra allowance to replace it, it's going to shorten my shoulder. Do you get it? So what do? I usually use my bust circumference to get my shoulder while cutting my princess dart. Okay, which is 40 divided by 4. So if I use 40 divided by 4, it gives me 10. Okay, so this is my 10 inches. I will extend this with my ruler. Still slope your shoulder Know that still slope your shoulder. There's a reason why I am using my 10 inches for my shoulder measurement, which I'm going to explain to you now. So when I am done with that, so remember to extend this other that you have already drafted. Remember to extend this that manipulation. You know, from this 10 inches, you're coming down by 2 inches also. Okay, so you're connecting this inwards. So meaning the shape that you're going to have now is going to be different from what you have previously. So I'm connecting it under, okay, so making this place to be 2 inches below. All right, hope it's clear. Then from there to here, I'm also coming down by 2 inches. All right, to connect it to form my breast cup. Okay, this is what I have. Now I will now go ahead and connect my armhole together with it. Okay, I'll go ahead and connect my armhole with that. Okay, so what I have now with this that I have now is still the same thing that we did previously, but the reason why I'm extending is for the sake of this trimmings that we're going to trim out. You understand, to avoid our shoulder being short by 2 inches or so. Because if you now join from this particular point, by the time you get to this place, you might end it here. You understand? Meanwhile, you still have this place that is still part of your measurement and it will not correspond with your shoulder. So instead of you joining and making your work rough, you will now trim this place off to avoid that. So what I'm going to be cutting it away from this particular place, then I will now come down and remove this other side. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Now you remember to leave your allowance for the sewing allowance. The 2 inches that will remove from here, add the 2 inches to this other part. Okay, that 2 inches you remove from the dart, add it to your allowance, which is 2 inches inside, 2 inches as well. Take it down, add your allowance that you will leave for it. I'm leaving 2 inches allowance as well for it. So I'll use my roller to go ahead and connect it together. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is what we have as the outcome of it. So I'll go ahead and show you how you're going to cut the neck. Remember, the neck, we are still using the same neck pattern that we use. That is 3 inches width by 3 inches depth. Okay, so I can decide to create my neck the way I want it, either with neck up or V, whatever I choose to do that. So this is what I have for my neck. I'm going to go ahead and cut it so that I will tell you the result or the effect of this extension that we did here. Okay, all right, so we have everything cut using the bust circumference as the shoulder. That's what we use. Okay, now I'm going to now go ahead and cut the darts that we have here. Remember, I'm cutting from this particular line inward, so I'm cutting from there. I'm not cutting from here, I am cutting from this particular one inside. That's the one I'm cutting for the moment. So you trace it out. Okay, all right, I've separated my darts. Go ahead and notch your nipple point so that it will give you a direction of where it is. All right, I've notched it. Now I have my shoulder measurements now, you understand, and I have SS. So what I'm going to do from here to here, this was my exact shoulder measurement. This extension is just for the sake of this other side. That's why I added this extension. So I'm just going to go ahead and eliminate that extension that I added. So I have my shoulder exact measurement that I want it. Okay, so this is my perfect size for this center front. Then at this other side, go ahead and do your cutting to eliminate your darts so that you'll be able to get the cup that you want. Make sure you have it curved. Don't let it have a pointed mouth. Make sure it is curved to make your part very well look unique. Okay, so this is the shape that I have. Okay, then I will go ahead and notch my nipple points. Okay, all right, this is the shape that I have. Now let me now show you the reason why I did what I did using my bust circumference. Now if you look at the pattern I have here, you can remember I had this place. I had these particular sides. Okay, you can take your mind back. You remember I had only this particular point to be my armhole. You understand? So meaning that if I should join my nipple point from this particular place, okay, my nipple point, that's I say should notch it. This is my nipple point to my nipple point. If I should join it from here, by the time I'm coming up, I will end somewhere here. It's going to end somewhere here. And in here, trace it up to the shoulder. You're seeing that my shoulder is shortened by 1 inch, okay, 1 inch. So if I should cut my armhole from this particular place, it's going to shorten. So the reason, in order to avoid your shoulder being shortened, I use my bust circumference to get it, just to increase the shoulder and also increase this particular curve. All right, after I finish getting it, you see this one that I got now when I use this. So by the time I will join it from my nipple point to this other nipple point, see what I have is complete, and I even have excess to trim out away from here. So my method is that it is better I trim out from this particular side than trimming out from this, because the measurement of this particular center one is standard, but the measurement of this one you can increase, you can reduce, because you will see do trimming, you will see do shaping. This is where you added all your allowance that you're going to use. But on this particular one, there was no allowance added. Every measurement you calculated for this particular side is standard. You're not going to add anything except for the fact that we added ½ inch on the nipple to nipple points, the waist, just to connect these dots together to form a base, a blouse. Hope is clear. Now when I open it this way, this is what I'm going to have. All right, this is the outcome of it. Okay, we have this. So you're going to join from this nipple point to this other nipple point. You join again from there to join down. Do the same thing to this other side. You have your cup formed, and it's not going to be pointed. It's very, very simple and unique, unlike the one that you will do and it will be pointing. With this method, if you can master it, it will help you a lot. It's just a matter of you trying to constantly practice and master them. Okay, so I'm going to show you in another video how you're going to do the back and how you're going to do the sewing. Okay, please go ahead and practice on this particular pattern. If you don't know how to do it, this pattern will really help you. Don't forget, I used my bust circumference to get my shoulder previously before I get exact shoulder. Remember to comment. Please do comment. Help me and comment. Help me to like, help me to share. Ask your question on the comment section, on the comment below. Ask your question, then like, share. Don't share, all right, or share. You can share to your friends, to your group, all right, for the video to keep going. Then turn on the notification bell, all right, to get more of this video. The sewing of this will come up soon. Thank you.